Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Rachel and I am knitting. Not right now, but most of the time, and I have been knitting. So I'm going to tell you all about it in today's video, which is episode 12 of my 2024 podcast series. My goal for these podcasts is that they're weekly uploads so I can talk about my knitting progress, my spinning progress, what I've been up to over the course of the last week, as well as share any relevant acquisitions with you. So if any of that sounds interesting, hit the subscribe button so you can see all of future podcasts and tag along for the ride. Okay, let's get going. We'll start with the project updates section of the podcast, and we'll get going with the Kal Cardigan. If you've been watching the podcast for the last few weeks, you may be intimately familiar with this project. And I'll tell you, I've had some ups and downs over the course of the past week. Last week, when I showed you my progress on the Kal Cardigan, I had just knit up one skein's worth into the yoke of the sweater, and then I wet blocked it to determine my gauge. I then continued knitting. I finished the front left panel, and then the front right panel, and the back panel. I joined the sleeves. That's not right. I joined all three of those panels, which then closes the armhole depth, basically creating your sleeve hole. And then you're supposed to keep knitting the body. After knitting a few rows of the body, after connecting these three separate panels, I tried it on and I determined that the armhole depth was too shallow. I'm kind of cautious about approaching the armhole situation with this sweater because on my most recent cardigan that I knit, the field day cardigan, I added length to the armhole depth, or no, length. Yes, I added length to the panels to create more armhole depth. This is like a topsy-turvy riddle in my mind. Created more armhole depth that I ended up not really needing to have. So I don't want to overcompensate again with this project and add length to panels to create a deeper armhole and then have an armhole that's, it's just, I don't want to do that again. So I'm trying on as I go very, very frequently. So yeah, the armhole was a bit too shallow for what I wanted. It was just going to be way, way, way tight on my arms. And that's just not the feel that I wanted. So I did frog back. I also put a lifeline in right before I joined the panels since brioche is kind of tricky to pick back up with frogging. So anyway, I put a lifeline in and I ended up frogging back to the lifeline and getting these stitches back on my needles. So I should say also that the armhole, I had already added 4 rows to each panel before joining all panels. So I have already added length, but not really because my row gauge is different than pattern gauge. So I think honestly what's going to happen is I'm probably going to keep adding like 2 rows at a time and just checking and seeing. It's not the most efficient way to do it, but whatever. I'm really invested in this project and having it turn out perfectly just the way I want it. So yeah. The other thing with this is that I'm not sure it's going to be wide enough. I think it's the perfect circumference to have as an open cardigan right now, but I don't know if I'll be able to successfully button this without having a lot of bunching and gaping where the buttons are. So anyway, the update on the Kal Cardigan is I've made a lot of progress and then I frogged it back, and then I've made more progress and then I frogged it back. So if I had not had to frog any part of this, I might be halfway done the body by now, but whatever. Slow fashion, right? Slow and steady wins the race. So I think my current plan for this project is to wet block it once again and see if this is going to be wide enough, or the circumference will be wide enough to go over my bust without bunching or gaping with the buttons. I really don't want that. And I'm really invested in this being a staple wardrobe piece that I wear like so much. I love this yarn. I don't think I mentioned this is Malabrigo Pisces. The colorway is Pisces. The base is Rios, which is Malabrigo's worsted weight base. So I'm alternating skeins. It looks just gorgeous. I love this periwinkle purple vibe. So yeah, that's the update on my Kal Cardigan. I'm gonna wet block it just to make sure that it's going to be wide enough, because if it's not wide enough, then I need to frog back all of this front panel on both sides and also all of this back panel, and I need to go back and add more shoulder increases. So it's just like the saga of knitting and frogging, knitting and frogging, knitting and frogging as far as my Kal Cardigan goes. So, like I said, I'm really trying to persevere with this. I'm trying not to get bogged down with frustration or defeat, because I don't want this to languish in my WIP pile. I want to continue working on this, and I want this to be a wearable piece like within the next month. So I need to just like not get discouraged, hold on to hope, and continue knitting. So there's the update on my Kal Cardigan. The next project that I'll update you on is my Iza Cardigan. This is designed by Vert and Rose, and I am knitting this up on Treehouse Knits Cashmere Elm DK. So it's a cashmere blend base, and it is so dreamy. This colorway is called Don't Be a Pageant Mom. It's from Treehouse Knits Stars Hollow collection, which is actually currently open for pre-order. It launched for pre-order on Sunday, May 12th. Happy belated Mother's Day if you are a mother or you celebrate Mother's Day. But yeah, it launched for pre-order last night as of filming, 2 days ago by the time you see this. And it's a beautiful icy purple. It's like a great neutral version of purple, if that makes sense. I'm really enjoying the lace detail on this cardigan. In my last podcast, I mentioned that the formatting of this pattern is causing me grief, because you have to look at like page 2 of the pattern for the button band instructions, and then page 6 or something of the pattern to look at the lace motif chart. And one of you suggested to take a screenshot and put the screenshot on the page that I want to stay on. So I've done that, and that's been super helpful. I've done that in the past. I don't know why I didn't think of that for this pattern, but thank you for reminding me that that's an option. I have started the second skein on this project, and it's pretty smooth sailing. The button band does confuse me. Like, I haven't memorized the button band because the right button band differs from the left button band on both the right side and the wrong side. So it's kind of like a brain teaser to remember, okay, which side am I on? Does this mean I'm slipping this row or working this row, or like what's going on? And then the lace motif, I think I've almost got it memorized, but I still do look at the chart. And other than that, it's just stockinette in between the lace panel and the button band. So I'm enjoying it. I just placed my second buttonhole as well, like an inch ago, whatever. So yeah, making good progress on that. This is a good TV knit for me. I was watching Game of Thrones with DJ, my husband, and just like was knitting away on this last night, and it was really nice because once you get to the stockinette, it's like meditative, mindless. You don't need to pay attention, and then you can like turn your brain back on when you get to the lace motif and the button band, and then yeah, so that's good. I've got this second skein in one of my little hand cranked cozies that I made on my Dean & Bean sock machine. This one has like little feet. It looks kind of silly. Maybe it needs like little googly eyes, and it'd be like a little character. I didn't like how that looked, but whatever. Yes, there's my progress on my Iza cardigan. I also wet blocked one skein's worth, or a little less than one skein's worth of knitting on this to determine my gauge. And I still think that I'll be fine with the fit. It will work out fine. But I'm realizing that the trouble with bottom up cardigans, or I guess any pattern that's bottom up, any garment that's bottom up, is like once you cast on, that's the size you're making, because you cast on the number of stitches and you just like work a flat panel and then you separate to work the front and the back and whatever. Whereas with the Kal cardigan, even if I cast on a size that ends up not working for me, I can always add more shoulder increases to make this a wider cardigan. There's room to mitigate the fallout of casting on the wrong size. Whereas for bottom up, like once you cast on, that's the size you're going with. So that was helpful for me to conceptualize when I look at patterns in the future. Like I know the belly aching about bottom up. I personally belly ache about bottom up because it's difficult to determine if you've knit long enough before the arm separation to form the armhole. And so sometimes you may have a sweater that's more cropped than you wanted, or sometimes you might knit longer than you needed to and you have a sweater that's longer than you wanted. So bottom up is tricky in that way, but I've realized it's also tricky in that you really are committing to a size to knit once you cast on. There's not the option to just, add a few more rows of increases. The size you cast on is the size you're going with. So go knowingly, go prepared. Okay, so that's the update on my Iza cardigan. The next project update I have for you is my Cesium scarf. In my last podcast episode, I mentioned that I wanted to dye this with Kool-Aid, and I'm happy to report that I've successfully dyed it, not with Kool-Aid, but rather with High C drink mix, which is basically the same dang thing as Kool-Aid. It's a powdered drink mix that you put in water and it flavors it and colors it. So I used 6 of these Grabbin' Grape High C drink packets, and as you can see, the scarf is not necessarily purple. It's like a mauve, kind of like a dusty pink, but I love it. I'm happy with it, and I think it's really, really cute. So I have a video that should be going up later this week that walks you through the process. So if you're interested in dyeing your own knits, or perhaps even skeins of yarn, if you want to try dyeing them with Kool-Aid or High C, I'll have a video that goes over that for you up shortly, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, that's just a quick, simple update. I dyed this pink. And I'll show you, how about I show you a side by side? So on one side of the screen, I'll show you what it looked like before, and now you can see after. Much more colorful than it was, but still like a nice, understated, muted, little tonal scarf. Very cute. Okay, so we've got the Cesium scarf update. We've got the Iza, the Kal cardigan. The next project that I've been working on this week is, if you've knit this pattern or you're familiar with this pattern, you will immediately recognize what it is. It's the emotional support chicken. Okay, listen, I know people are sick of this pattern. I've seen the comments on my own videos. I've seen like the snark on Reddit. Like, I know some people just like would rather die than see this again. So if that's you, I'm so sorry. I hope you're safe and okay. But like, I wanted to make a chicken, so I made a chicken, and I'm not annoyed with this pattern, so I'm knitting it again. I'm making this for my niece who is in utero. She's on her way. She's cooking up. She's forming her body, whatever. Okay, my sister's pregnant, and yeah. And my sister loves purple. My sister gives me grief about saying that I am a purple girl because she says she was a purple girl first. Okay, great. So anyway, my sister loves purple, and so I figured it'd be cute to make my niece a purple chicken. Also, my sister has chicken, so it felt appropriate. Yeah, so I hope that my niece loves this. My niece does not have to be a purple girl. She can grow up to love whatever color she wants, but I'm making her purple chicken all the same. So here's the progress I have. Obviously it's not done. I need to knit the bottom piece and the gobblers for the top, the wattle and the gobbler, whatever. I don't know chicken anatomy and I don't care to learn it, but I need to finish those pieces, basically the mohawk and the goatee and the bottom piece so it can sit upright, seam it all up, and stuff it. So, dun 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 dun. Also, I will say, if you are in the camp of people who hate this pattern and are sick of this pattern, I will be doing an FO diary video on the emotional support chicken, and I will be doing a how much does it cost emotional support chicken edition. So hold on to your butts, clench your butts, prepare your hearts, and look away if needed. There you go. Like, okay, you don't have to like this pattern. A lot of people don't, but a lot of people do, and I'm one of them. So I'm making more chickens. I'm so sorry. We're not going to yuck each other's yum. If you hate it, you keep on hating it. But if you don't hate it, hey, neither do I. I should also say the yarn I'm using for the emotional support chicken, I am using leftovers from the Long Dog Yarn Princess Bride colorways that Brandy sent me to promote the Princess Bride collection. So the main color for this chicken, this like dusty pinky purple mauve, the lighter color, is This a Kissing Book? And the darker purple is Never Go Against a Sicilian When Death is on the Line. I use these two colorways to make the Lume by Sari Nordland. This is the Merino DK base, and I have some leftovers, so I thought they would be perfect together for a little emotional support chicken. Also, I think as like right now, it looks like a pigeon, and I kind of like that. Like, maybe I'll make an emotional support chicken one day. Anyway, okay, so moving on from poultry, let's continue. The next project update that I have to tell you about isn't really a project update, but kind of approaching a project update, which is I caked up a skein of yarn for my purse project. This is Treehouse Knits Alpaca Sport. It's really soft. I don't think I've made anything with alpaca. I have a few different skeins in my collection that have alpaca in them or are strictly alpaca yarn, but I don't think I've worked them up yet. Maybe I have, but no project comes to mind. But yeah, this is Lauren's Sassafras Alpaca Sport in the colorway First Frost, which Lauren sent this to me to promote her Winter Tonals launch a few months ago. So I've had this in my stash for a minute here, and it's time to cast on my purse project. So maybe I'll do that this week, get going on it. I'm thinking The Simple Thing by Melina Brell. I said this last week, but The Simple Thing by Melina Brell is a free pattern on Ravelry. It's the perfect dupe for the Sophie shawl and the Sophie scarf. It's customizable. It's amazing. Yes. So if that sounds interesting to you, check out that pattern on Ravelry. I'm excited to use this skein. This will become my purse project, caked up and ready to go. So that is all I have for project updates. Let's move to the spinning section of the podcast. So for today's spin diary, I'm just going to quickly show you my bobbin and let you know that I skipped a lot of days, the last 10 days of the 100 Days of Spinning Challenge. Okay, what a mouthful. But the 3 days that I did spin in this most recent 10-day increment, I spun for an hour or longer each time. So I'm really enjoying longer spinning sessions. I feel like my spinning is getting better and better. I get into the groove and the rhythm, and I really like that. So I'm excited about that. The next thing to tell you about in my spinning section or the spin diary of the podcast is, and I've said this on Instagram and also other videos, so apologies if this sounds like a broken record at this point, but if you're just watching the podcast, I want to let you know that I have a spinning wheel coming my way. I've partnered with Kromsky and Sons to bring some spinning content to you. So they are sending me a spinning wheel along with a few other goodies that I don't know what they are yet. They'll be a surprise to me, but I'm really excited to receive that spinning wheel, and I'm really grateful to Kromsky for partnering with me, and I look forward to playing around with the spinning wheel, learning how to spin on a double treadle wheel as opposed to an e-spinner that doesn't require any treadling or foot movement. And we'll round that learning curve together. So I hope that you are excited to see where this goes. I'm really, really looking forward to playing around on the spinning wheel, and I'll bring you along for the whole process so you can see what it's like if you've been thinking about getting a spinning wheel like this for yourself. So there's the update on spinning, and that concludes the spin diary section. The next section of the podcast is acquisitions, and it's going to be short and sweet today because I only have two things to show you. Kimber of Kimbers Cozy Creations sent me some yarn in the mail. These are from her Summer Lovin' colorway launch that will take place on May 15th, so just a couple days away. There are two colorways that will be available as far as I know. This sock set is one of them, or I guess both of them actually. This main color is called Summer Lovin'. It's got lots of neons, so like green, blue, pinks, yellows, and then the accompanying mini for the sock set is Pop of Purple. They go together really, really well. I think I'm going to crank this into socks. Sometimes I use sock sets for different projects than actual socks, but I think this will turn into socks because this isn't, I mean, the purple aside, this main color is not really a group of colors that I normally wear, but as socks, who cares? That's perfect. So there's the sock set. I got it on Cozy Fingering, which is my favorite fingering weight base in existence. It's 4-ply, 75-25, 463 yards per 100 grams. I love this base. A few different people carry it, and it's perfection. I also was sent a skein of Pop of Purple on Kimbers' twelfth DK base, which is a merino nylon blend DK weight, 75-25 and 245 yards per 100 grams. This Pop of Purple colorway is really, really pretty because it looks almost like neon. Like there's definitely some blue undertones to this that like almost make it look, I don't know, holographic. Like, you know those holographic stickers, like if you move your position to how you're looking at the sticker, the image kind of shifts. That's kind of how this feels. Like I feel like if I shift my perspective looking at this yarn, it will be more blue and then more pink and then more purple. So it's just kind of a fun skein to look at. But those are the only two acquisitions that I have this week, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this Pop of Purple twelfth DK skein. I got a skein with my promo materials because I was thinking that it would be perfect pair for Funfetti, which is another colorway that Kimber launched a little bit ago. Funfetti is so fun. It's so fun. Look at all these speckles. There's purples, greens, blues, yellows, pinks. So cute. So I have two skeins of Funfetti, and I really want to make a colorwork yoke pullover. Yes, colorwork yoke pullover. I cannot talk today. Colorwork yoke pullover with this as the contrast color, and I'm thinking like a really vibrant grape purple as the main color. So I wanted to try Pop of Purple and see if that was the good pairing that I had envisioned, but after seeing these next to each other, I think that I want a deeper purple, whereas this is like so vibrant but also like somehow muted at the same time. I'm not big on color theory, so I don't know if that is the right verbiage, but it even matches some of the speckles perfectly, but still I'm looking for, I think, just a little bit of a deeper saturated grape purple. So I'll have to think of something else to do with this really pretty skein, because it really is gorgeous. Really like that. Pop of purple is the perfect name for this. Gorgeous. Yeah, okay, so that's acquisitions, and that's pretty much all that I have to tell you about. I told you about all my projects, I told you about my spinning, I told you about my acquisitions. What else should you know? I submitted final grades today, so that means that it's officially summertime for me, which also means that I am knitting and content creating as my summer job. So that's kind of keeping me busy. It's really, really fun. I'm having a blast. And I'm grateful to you for coming along for the ride. So that's it. That's all I have for you. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you don't already, and hit that notification bell to be notified of my next upload. Last but not least, head over to Instagram and follow me at Rachel is Knitting if you don't already. All right, that's it. Thanks so much for watching. Happy knitting, and I'll see you next time.